Let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a pretty wild idea today. Something that could completely flip how we think about jobs, careers, and just, well, making money. The big idea? What if the stock market is becoming the new salary? It sounds crazy, but let's break it down. So what's behind this massive shift? The main driver, you guessed it, is artificial intelligence. It's moving so fast that it's forcing us to rethink, everything about how our economy works. And this isn't some sci-fi movie stuff for the distant future. Nope, this is happening right now, right in front of us. So let's just put the question out there, plain and simple. Is the stock market becoming the new salary? I mean, think about it. That question challenges the whole idea of a traditional 9-to-5 job, the very foundation of work for generations. And we have to ask this question because AI automation is totally rewriting the rules. That classic model of, trading your time for a paycheck, it's being seriously disrupted. So we have to figure out, in this new world, where does the money, the value, actually come from? To really get what's going on, we need to look at this classic economic battle, the tension between labor, that's people, that's us, and capital. And capital is basically the machines, the tech, and the assets that actually produce all the stuff. Okay, now check this out, because this slide lays it out so clearly. In the old model, a company's biggest cost was almost always its people, human labor. But in the new AI model, automation just slashes those labor costs. So where does all that money go? It doesn't just vanish. It flows straight into profit margins. The value is still there. It's just being sent to a different address. And that brings us back to this word, capital. It's so important to understand it's not just about a pile of cash. Capital is the engine of a business. It's the robots, the software, the AI algorithms, and, crucially, the financial assets like stocks that represent ownership of that whole engine. So what happens when you redirect all that value? Well, you get a massive transfer of wealth. And where that wealth ends up is decided by one simple thing: ownership. This quote from our source material just hits the nail on the head. It's so simple but so powerful. When AI and robots start doing the jobs that humans used to do, the money, the wealth created, doesn't go to the worker who was replaced. It goes to the people who own the technology. And in our modern economy, who owns the technology? Well, for the huge companies driving this change, it's the stockholders, the people who own a piece of the company, even a tiny piece, are the ones who get a piece of the robots, a piece of the AI, and a piece of the profits that it all creates. Okay, so if the old way of doing things is getting disrupted, what are you supposed to do? This brings us to a whole new mindset, a really necessary shift in how we have to think about our financial future. And this slide really says it all. The whole idea is that we are moving away from an economy where you earn a living and into one where you have to own your living. It's a small change in words, but it's an absolutely massive change in perspective. This breaks it down perfectly. Earning a living. Step one, that's the system we all know, right? You trade your hours and your skills for a paycheck. But step two, owning a living, that's different. It's about owning a piece of the value creation machine itself, so you profit from what it produces, not just from the time you put in. So what does this actually mean for us? What's the game plan here? It means we need a new strategy. And the source we're looking at calls this strategy the AI hedge. And here it is. This is the core takeaway, the most actionable piece of advice. In this new world, it's not enough to just be a user of all this amazing tech. To really be financially secure, the argument is that you need to be an owner. So what does that look like in the real world? It means owning equity, owning stock in the companies that are actually building this AI revolution. The source points to the biggest players in the game, the ones people are calling the Magnificent Seven, companies like Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA. That's where this value is being created. And so that leaves us with this one last really critical question to think about. As AI gets woven into every single part of our economy, which side of that line are you going to be on? Are you going to be a user of the technology, or are you going to be an owner?